Hey there, my name is Mackenzie and welcome to my little corner of the internet. During my time in Japan, I've been collecting enamel pins, which was a new thing for me. It kind of started out as like a coincidence sort of thing, like it wasn't intentional, and then kind of at some point I realized that I kept doing that and was like, might as well commit. You know what I mean? Might as well just keep doing this. So I've developed quite the little collection and I'm very excited to share it with you today. We're gonna start off with the very first one that I got. I'm pretty sure it was the first one, and it was this pin. This one I got at a flea market in Shimokitazawa. I went with my friends, the group of us girlies went and did some shopping, and I ended up buying a bunch of stuff that day. When picking out, I think it was hair accessories from this one particular place, I saw this pin and I just thought it was really cute, and I originally bought it so that Edward had a little souvenir from his time there, but I'm gonna be adding that to my pin collection. The next two are these from the Sunshine City Aquarium in Ikebukuro. I got a jellyfish and a penguin, and yeah, that's pretty much most of what the exhibit is. The aquarium doesn't have a lot other than those two things, like that makes up a good portion and is probably the most memorable of all of the stuff that I saw, but it was so much fun. My friends and I went together and we had a blast, and that definitely went down as one of my most favorite days, was that one. Even though leading up to that was a disaster for me. I arrived like an hour, 2 hours late. I missed out on the stuff that they did before. They went to like a shrine and did a bunch of stuff and I missed out because I was running late. I had a panic attack in the Tokyo Skytree, which was my first like big kind of anxiety episode in a long time at that point. So I remember being really disappointed in myself with that one, but by the time we went to the aquarium I was feeling much better and I had such a fun time. They had like a big poster up where they had like all of the different relationships that the penguins have with each other. They also have it on their website, and you can view it that way. It's definitely like one of those things that's gonna be like a core memory for like the rest of my life, hopefully. What are your thoughts?
Why is it
The next pin badges I technically didn't get in Japan. I got them as a birthday gift from my brother and my sister-in-law for our birthday, because I'm a triplet, so my brother and I have the same birthday. Off we go! Where are we going? Where are we landing? On an adventure. Taking me places. I appreciate it. The sky is pretty. Wow. Yeah. Bye. Happy birthday. Yeah. Woohoo. Alrighty. I came home in August to visit family and to do a few things that needed to be done that I couldn't do in Japan. I had to do them in Canada. So I came home during the break in the summertime and they gave me a bunch of these. I think there was actually a set of 5 of them. But these are the 2 that I brought with me back to Japan. For those of you that don't know, I tend to collect black cat related things as a bit of a homage to Shorty Pants. She was my cat that I had for 19 years of my life, and she passed away in 2021, and so although I did collect black cat things before she passed, I really kicked it up a notch after she passed. So she's almost like a little bit of a mascot for me in life, and so I tend to gravitate towards black cat things. So they got that for me with that in mind, and it made me very happy, so I have those. Actually, shortly before that, before August, at the end of July, we had our summer term school trip. Every term we get to go on one trip, and this one was to Fuji. I think this takes the crown as my favorite school trip we did by a landslide, but also probably one of my top 5 experiences, one of my top 5 days during my first year in Japan for sure. It's crystal clear, but now I know. I had an absolute blast with my classmates and my teachers, and it was just definitely one of the bestest days. When I was in the gift shop that's at like the base of Mount Fuji, there's all of these different like stores and restaurants and shops and stuff, and I looked around for forever trying to find pins, and I couldn't find enamel pins. I could find badges, I found stickers, I found lots of stuff, but I couldn't find enamel pins, like what I was looking for. So I was explaining to my teacher what I wanted.
enamel pin wa enamel pin pin?
ピン？マウント富士のピン？ちょっと聞いてみましょう。
And she ended up asking the staff, and they brought me over to the post office area because the post office area did have them. And I'm really happy that I got up the courage to ask, because otherwise I would have missed out. So I got these two. I love the postage stamp. I mean, you see a lot of the ones that look like this one with the, usually with Mount Fuji. But these are so pretty with the gold around them and everything. I just love these. These are exactly what I would have wanted. So I was really happy. We also went to the Fuji Museum, which I do recommend anybody do if you're traveling around that area. And I got this pin. They had them in different colors, and I chose the green. And I really like it a lot. I'm really happy that I did that. It's so cute. Edward had an absolute blast at the museum, so I think this might have been a souvenir that I got for him, because I already got 2 pins for myself, so I think this was like his pin that I got. I feel like that feels right, but anyway, very cute. I'm very happy with that. Next up is this Ferris wheel. It was a memento from my little trip to Yomiuriland with a friend. We went and we did some painting at the Starbucks. It's called Hanayashiki, like a botanical garden inside, and they had like all these different flower setups where you could take pictures and stuff with your friends, or probably like with a boyfriend, with your family, whatever. But we're very like, aesthetic for photos and stuff. And then they had like where you could buy little plants and little accessories for plants, little pots and stuff like that. So we sat there and we did some painting for the longest time, and then we walked around a little bit. I remember we rode like 1 or 2 rides, but we didn't really, it gets very expensive. We were really disappointed in the Ferris wheel, which is what I was so excited for, because I misunderstood the website. The wording of the website is horrible. It made it seem like as if the light show that happens at night was happening at this time of the year. This would have been like November, and it wasn't happening yet, so I missed out on that. I do want to go back and see Yomiuriland all lit up, but unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do it in my first year. This pin was so expensive though. I think it was like 2,500 yen. The gift shop has so many cute things, but there's nothing in there that has price tags on them, so you don't know what you're paying until you go up, or at least this didn't have a price tag on it until I was paying for it, and then it was just kind of like, oh shit. You know what I mean? My friend Sammy and I went to the Nintendo store at some point. I believe this was around December that we went, and again, another place that is fantastic but so expensive, and I ended up allowing myself to get a Navi pin. And while I was walking across the streets headed home from school one evening, she fell off my bag. I had her pinned to my Airi tote bag, and she fell off of there, and this really kind young man chased me down. I say that like as if I'm not also young myself, but anyway, he chased me down to give me my pin back, and I was so grateful because I literally just bought her like the week before. So it literally would have been a matter of days and she would have been gone, and I would have been devastated. That's when I stopped pinning badges to my Airi tote bag, because they don't stay when they're on a bag like that. And I was like, okay, I have to find a better way to display these because I don't want to lose them off my bag, right? I just thought it was fun to kind of have a little Navi with me. I grew up playing Ocarina of Time. That was one of my first Zelda games. That was actually probably one of the first 3D games I ever played. with the Nintendo 64, and I remember just being so like blown away by the graphics and how big the world seemed. Like that was crazy back then, and Navi was just a very memorable part of my childhood. Like I hear like little clips of her voice used in YouTube videos now, and it never gets old. She was really annoying. Like she was. I can see why people didn't love how much she popped up entirely too much to tell you things you already knew, but as a little kid at like 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, playing Ocarina of Time, I thought she was just like the best, and I wanted my own Navi so badly. So now I do. In January, my class did our winter school trip at the Tokyo National Museum, and I spent like entirely too much in the gift shop. I was the only person I know that bought stuff in the gift shop. I don't think anybody else in my term did that, but anyway, I spent a lot of money. I bought a lot of things. You can see a lot of those things in my stationery haul video from February. I do share a lot of that.
My salad bowl if I was Kylie Jenner.
I got this pin. It's a goldfish, and I thought it was super pretty. There were so many nice ones though, guys. Like if you get a chance, I do recommend going to Ueno Park in general because there's so much to do there. Like literally have an entire day where you just do stuff there because there's so much to do. You'll be overwhelmed. You'll probably spend a whole day there and not even finish everything there. But the National Museum, I definitely do recommend to take a boo in. I went to the right and then kind of like went all the way around and finished at the gift shop. But depending on, you know, your time limits and things like that, I do recommend going into the gift shop. You just have to turn left and it's right there. It's massive and there's so much there to look at. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you're someone that likes stationery, if you like stickers and washi tape and pins and things like that, then you'll really enjoy your time there. We're almost near the end. So in February, I went to see the 6 musical in Tokyo, and I've never seen a musical before. That I can't think of any time in my life where I've seen a musical in person. So I didn't really know exactly what to expect. I did read the synopsis of the musical like literally on my way there. But the reason why I bought the ticket to go in November was because Suzuki Airi was one of the leads, as well as Tamura Meimi, and I chose one of the days where they were both performing because the Tokyo cast was split in two. They had 2 different casts lineup, and then they were kind of like interchanging them. For the 6 musical, you had to do a lottery in order to get in, so I lottoed for 3 days that I knew Airi and Mimi were both going to be performing, and I got the Valentine's Day slot, and I got a really great seat. Actually, the venue was really nice, the X Theater in Roppongi. There really is no bad seating area. Like, it doesn't really matter where you sit in that theater, you have a really good view, but I was like kind of more in the middle, a little further back, so I got a really good view of everything. But I went on Valentine's Day, and I thought that that was kind of cute, that it was like a date for myself, you know, to kind of go out and treat myself and also get to see Airi and Meimi, and it felt so perfect, you know. It was probably one of the best experiences of my entire life, let alone just individually my Japan era. Are you ready to go? Yeah! It was phenomenal. Like, if you get a chance to go and see 6, if they're in your area and you can get tickets, do it, because I was smiling so much that my face hurt by the end of it. When I bought the tickets there would be an exam. There was no way for me to have seen that coming, even though I felt pretty bummed to find out that it was going to overlap with my kanji test. If it was just a regular school day, it wouldn't have really mattered. I wouldn't have been worried about it, but because it was a big kanji test and it was going to be worth quite a bit of my grade, I was a little bit worried about it and I was a little bit bummed, but this ticket was not cheap and I was looking forward to this for months, so I was going no matter what, and I don't regret it. It was the right decision for sure. I ended up pretty much acing the kanji exam that we had the following week, so it's fine. It didn't hurt me too much, but I got a few pins from that experience. The first one being the Howard pin, her outfit, because that is the character that Airi played. One for Howard, her quote, and one for Mamie's character. What did she play again? Anne. It was so much fun. Thinking about it just gets me so happy, you know? I was riding a major dopamine high after that. And finally, the final pin that I got was in February. I went back to Ueno Park and I went to the Tokyo Art Museum instead this time because I didn't get a chance to do that. I ended up getting a Hello Kitty. I talked about this in my stationery video as well. If there had been a Snoopy version of this, I would have gotten that instead, but there wasn't a Snoopy pin. I'm actually surprised I've never come across a Snoopy enamel pin because he's so popular in Japan, he's everywhere. And I do have a lot of Snoopy stuff, as a big Snoopy fan myself, but an enamel pin is one of the things I never got a chance to get, so that's something I do eventually want to obtain. This was the only pins that they had were Hello Kitty themed because they have that big special Hello Kitty 50th anniversary or whatever, I think it's actually 75th anniversary or some shit. Anyway, she's got a big anniversary going on, so they have like a big museum set up for her. So the art museum also had some Hello Kitty related merch in their goods store. So I figured to commemorate that experience and the experience of filming for a week in my life in outfits. That was one of my first like really big projects I did in Japan that I felt really proud of myself for having accomplished it. So I kind of thought that I should get something that sort of kind of commemorate the week of my life I spent filming that project. Bonus, one of my most favorite days was when my friend Sammy and I went to Hanayashiki in Asakusa. And again, it's another place I highly recommend you go. And we had a really good time that day, but the gift shop was a little bit lacking. We didn't have any enamel pins, but they did have pin badges. So I did get a pin badge. I do have a few other pin badges. I don't usually grab pin badges because again, I find them to be very cheap and so often kind of a little bit tacky looking. I definitely prefer enamel pins if I'm gonna get a pin of some kind, but that's all I had was a pin badge. So I just bought that and I'll have it with the rest of my pin badge collection. Their little mascot. Should I show you my Shugo Chara one? Since I'm showing you pin badges I have, I'd like to get an Animal Crossing one too now that I think about it. This one's really old. This was from when I went to Japan in 2018 and went to the Suzuki Airi Nippon Budokan, her first big concert in Nippon Budokan. I attended that and had one of the best times of my life, and I got this pin badge from that experience. And unfortunately it broke off, like the thing in the back keeps breaking off after being on my Airi tote bag for ages. Like it's been on there for like 5 years and I've never had any issues, but then all of a sudden recently it kept falling off, so I'll probably have to store it with the rest of my badges however I choose to display them. And then this is the Shugo Chara pop-up one. They were random bags. I didn't know which one was in there, and I got Amlet Spade, which does suit me as an artist, so I guess that was good. I've been trying to figure out how I want to display these because I can't put them on my tote bag. I did think about putting them on my jean jacket that I have, but I'm so worried about them falling off, and they do fall off quite easily, so I don't want to be in the position that I'm losing them because I would be devastated. So I've been looking into ways that people tend to display them. I've seen a lot of like people putting them into like picture frames, which is super cute, or hanging them on tapestries. I feel like I can make those work. Part of me wanted to like pin them into my traveler's notebook like the top of it. Once I'm finished with using it and I've retired it, pin it all into there, but I don't want to ruin it either because I don't think I'll be retiring that notebook for a long time, so I don't want to ruin it while I'm using it. And with the backs of them, the way that they are, they wouldn't lay flat very well, so that's why I'm saying it would have to be when it's not in use anymore. But then as some of you might remember, if you've seen my March haul video where I talked about the Itabags, I said that I got them so that I could pin all of these into here and kind of have that as my storage, and I think that is what I'm gonna do, at least temporarily. I think in the future I might do something like a display that's like in my home somewhere, like when I have a big enough collection. I wish I could put them in a journal somehow, but the only way I can think of is by drawing them because they wouldn't lay flat on paper. So I don't know if you guys have any ideas or if there's a specific way that you've displayed your pin badges that you really like and you'd like to recommend. Definitely let me know in the comments because I could definitely use some ideas and some advice from people who've been collecting pins longer than me. And that is it for today's video. I've been doing a lot of stuff like this lately where I've been showing things that I've bought recently or things that I've been collecting, and I'm definitely liking this format. I hope you guys are too, and I hope that maybe this inspires you to do some pin collecting or even postcards, or even like postcard stamps like that you would put on postcards as well, or the stamps that you stamp down, because Japan loves stamps, so you can find those in every train station. You can find them at a lot of very touristy locations. So if you're traveling to Japan, I definitely recommend like picking something to collect while you're there and then get like a little souvenir from each place you go, because it's just so much fun and it's such a fun way to have mementos from that trip that you can kind of bring back with you and display some way. So I definitely recommend it. I think that I would someday like to collect postcards from each place that I go to. I would like to do it the way that I did my postcards for my teachers and my family as souvenirs. I did paintings of places that I'd been and experiences that I had in Japan, and so I think I'd like to do something similar when I'm traveling to other places. I'd like to paint a postcard for each place I go to as like a memento, and then write on the postcard about that experience and create like a little book. I think that could be really cool. I just love stuff like that, just kind of like collecting little bits from the places you go and the things that you do. I think it's really exciting and it's so fun to look back on, more so than just photos upon photos upon photos, right? Let me know in the comment section if you guys have anything that you are particular about doing or collecting when you're traveling. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week.